Hey friends, Tara Finson, Realtor Berkshire Hathaway. It's time for another Tara Talk. So today I wanted to talk about how money is exchanged during a transaction. So there's two times when we see money being exchanged. The first is the earnest money, which is like your good faith money, and that is determined by the purchase agreement. So typically that's like a 1%, and it can be less, it can be more, but it's spelled out in the purchase agreement what the buyer is going to put down as their good faith money, their earnest money. That is held, depending on how the contract is written, it's going to be held with either the listing brokerage, the buyer's brokerage, or the title company is typically who holds the earnest money. And again, that's determined by the contract. That gets credited at closing. How does that work? Well, when you go to closing, the title company is the one who basically handles all the financial aspect of it for us, as far as making sure everybody gets paid and things come in and things go out the way they're supposed to. So what does that mean? Well, they work with the lending side to make sure that the loan is funded, and then on the seller side, they make sure that if there's anything outstanding, such as if you had a home equity line or a mortgage or taxes or anything that need to be paid, the title company is actually going to make sure that's done. So part of that is because we need that done for a clear title. It has to be paid. So all of the ins and outs of the money actually happen with the title company. So they cut checks to who needs to have the checks. They make sure everything is funded. So then at the end, the seller gets their proceeds, and the buyer, if they're bringing funds, they bring them at that time to kind of offset everything. So it kind of works like a checkbook of all the ins and outs for a buyer and a seller. But basically, those are the two times money are exchanged in a transaction. So that is the really fast version. And of course, when we are actually in the process, we go into it in much more detail, but this is a really quick overview just so people understand, because I get a lot of people get confused, especially on like the seller side of how they're going to pay off their mortgage, but that's all handled in title, which is why we love them. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye-bye.